So Simon, a heartbreaking way to lose last week. What's the reaction been like from the players?
It's been good, you know. We had a review on Monday and then we had training Wednesday, and obviously we went through the parts where we should have been better and come away with the result, because I think, you know, it ended up being a close game and a tight score, obviously the field goal in the last 15 seconds, but I think the game got away from us a little bit before that, where we probably should have been a little bit better at putting it beyond Halifax. We lost momentum and them key parts in the game for that block from about 10 minutes before half time and about 20 minutes into the second half, where we just weren't quite at it. So that got them back in the game. But yeah, we know where we can fix it and we'll be better for it.
Obviously some positive signs despite the defeat. You know, we've stood a lot of pressure, especially in the first half on our own line. Can we take something from that defensive performance into the next few weeks?
Yeah, I think so. We must have defended 5 sets back to back twice, you know. So, you know, our resilience on our goal line and our defence there was pleasing parts to that. But again, we put ourselves under pressure to have to deal with that, that's where we've got to be a little bit smarter and manage a game a little bit better. And I don't think we particularly were good at keeping them in yardage, which put us on our goal line defending too much. But that it was good that we were resilient enough to defend for long periods, but we got to be better not to be in that position as well.
I was going to say, you've spoken about resilience the last couple of weeks and last couple of months, about how we're getting more resilient as a group. And as you say, is it now the focus that we've got to be smarter alongside that, especially giving away penalties and errors that obviously lead to defending long periods on our line? Yeah,
100%. It's all been good that you're resilient and you have to be resilient, but we can't just leave. That can't only be our only trait. We need to understand why we're getting these positions and how we fix that. And again, that giving penalties away in yardage, letting them out of there and too easy where they don't have to work for it, has been a little bit of an issue for us over the course of the season. And again, we need to be better at that. But understanding that and knowing the knock-on effect to what the outcome has at the end of it is important as well, because you know it doesn't always look like it punishes you straight away, which it didn't on the weekend, but the knock-on effect of continually defending your goal line or letting them out of pressure situations has an effect. And yeah, we've got to be better at that aspect of the game for sure.
It obviously came at a cost, with Lewis Else receiving a pretty bad head knock as well. How's he holding up after that?
Yeah, he won't be right in time for this weekend's game. You know, he had a few symptoms that had a knock-on effect earlier in the week, which then sets him back on his return to play. So, you know, he was a bit better after the game after he went to A&E, but then again, the symptoms have been ongoing. So, yeah, he's a little bit banged up, but hopefully the extra week off he'll be back for London. But yeah, this game comes a bit too soon for him.
I know Buckley's joined Swinton on a loan deal too. How important is it that he gets some game time?
Yeah, it's massive. You know, it's clear that we've been doing it tough with injuries in different positions, but one position we haven't seemed to have any injuries at the moment is our outside backs. You know, we've got 4 wingers at the club and only obviously 2 can play, even though, you know, our recent history shows most of them are on the bench as well. But yeah, it's good because he's a great kid and he deserves to play games. And at the moment, our wingers are playing really well, and he needs to get out there and get some games under his belt, which he will do. And I think it's a good opportunity for him as well at Swinton. You know, he'll do a good job for them, so it's good for him. So we like that.
Other than those changes, the squad's looking pretty similar to the last couple of weeks. Is it a case of a couple of bodies needing late checks like we have done over the last couple of games? Yeah,
I think, you know, some of them in that squad probably won't make it. We've got a session to run obviously tonight where we can have another check on them, but you know, unless something drastically improves, I can't imagine some boys in that squad will make the game. But again, the 17 that are on the field will be good enough to win the game, so that's what we'll concentrate on.
And onto the game against Featherstone this weekend, we left the semi-final feeling like we should have probably won that game. Will we be taking anything from that performance into this weekend?
Yeah, we'll take some good bits out of it, but also, you know, that they probably speaking about the 14-16-0 lead that they were into, and they probably didn't manage the game as well as they needed to after that. But yeah, I think we showed in that game if you defend well against them and hang in there, you can score points against them. But again, they're obviously a very, very good side. I think since we played them, every half time they've been 40 points up. So they're clearly a very, very sharp attacking team, and we're going to have to be at our best to beat them. But that even though the table says they haven't lost a game, I think areas that we can exploit on them. But again, they're a clear quality team, so we're going to have to be good.
Is it a case then of, obviously you've mentioned that the amount of points they've been scoring since we played them, is it just a case of showing the defensive resilience that we've had the last couple of weeks and then being clinical up the other end to try and get the 2 points?
Yeah, and the game against them, I'm sure they've got a mutual respect of how we play, that I think they'll have a clear understanding that we can cause them some trouble if we get the ball in the right areas, and if we fix up some of the issues that we spoke about earlier about, you know, how we keep teams in yardage, we should be able to put some pressure on them. But you know, they're flying high at the moment, aren't they? They've got a big couple of weeks coming up. If it's clear to see, you know, they've got Wembley next week, which is a huge game for them, and then I think the game after that is a top of the table clash against Toulouse. So, you know, they've got some big games coming up that they're probably looking at as well, and I'm pretty sure that they'll want to go into that Toulouse game 100% record, but you know, they've got some games that they might be looking ahead for before they look at us. So we've got to be good to beat them, but you know, they're going to come ready to play against us as well.
And just on a final note, we're hoping that this weekend's game's the last one in front of a limited capacity crowd, following the announcement from the government. After a couple of weeks away from home, how important would it be for a big showing from the fans this weekend?
Oh, it'd be massive. I mean, they were good last week in pretty awful conditions, especially before the game. It wasn't the nicest weather to come and support us, and again they were terrific, and yeah, it's to have them back against a big Featherstone team that will need their support on the weekend will be massive. And you know, then you talk about the restrictions where it might be completely free and everyone can come. It'll be massive. You know, they've been great for us, and we'll need that support on the weekend because yeah, there's going to be times in that game that we're clearly going to be need a bit of adversity, and they get behind us and make it as uncomfortable as possible for the Featherstone team, which also helps.